Your niceness is why people don't respect you, not your competence, not your work ethic, your reflexive yes, your endless availability, your desperate need to be seen as good. That's what's keeping you invisible, overworked, and quietly resented. You think being kind builds loyalty. It doesn't. It builds entitlement. Here's the brutal problem. You've been taught to confuse appearing virtuous with being effective. One makes you feel warm and liked. The other makes you powerful and respected. And the difference between the two is the difference between getting walked over and getting listened to. Now, if you want the real truth about goodness, not the greeting card version, but the kind that actually compounds respect and influence, you need to hear from the last person your HR department would ever quote, Niccolo Machiavelli. Yes, the guy synonymous with ruthless cunning. Because while every self-help guru is selling you unconditional positivity, Machiavelli understood something they're too afraid to say. Indiscriminate kindness doesn't make you virtuous. It makes you exploitable. So let's stop confusing mercy with strategy. Let's talk about what goodness actually costs, what unreciprocated effort really buys you, and why being selectively good is the only goodness that survives contact with the real world. You've been sold a lie, and it's been burning you out. Here it is. Good people say yes. Boundaries make you selfish. That myth is everywhere. It's in your family dynamics, your workplace culture, your internal guilt whenever you even think about saying no. You've internalized a belief that real kindness is unconditional, that if you're truly a good person, you help everyone every time, no questions asked. And anything less? That's cold. That's selfish. That's you being a bad person. But here's what nobody tells you. Unconditional niceness isn't virtue. It's a transactional failure. When you say yes to everyone, you're not building relationships. You're training people to take without giving back. You're not earning respect. You're signaling that your time has no price. And the people who benefit most from that myth? The ones who never reciprocate. Now contrast that with strategic goodness. That's kindness with intention. That's generosity aimed at people in situations where it compounds, where it's valued, where it comes back. It's durable because it's sustainable. You can't pour from an empty cup. And strategic goodness is what keeps the cup full. By the end of this, you're going to see why Machiavelli's so-called brutal truth is actually the most honest offense of real virtue you'll ever hear. You'll walk away with a framework that lets you reclaim your energy, set boundaries, and help people without the guilt, without the resentment, and without sacrificing your sanity. But first, let's hear it straight from the source. Here's what Machiavelli actually wrote in The Prince, Chapter 15. A man who wants to act virtuously in every way necessarily comes to grief among so many who are not virtuous. Let that sit. He wasn't writing a villain's manifesto. He was documenting Renaissance Italy, a world where princes who played by the rules got poisoned, overthrown, or erased by rivals who didn't. Power dynamics were brutal. Unconditional virtue was a death sentence. Fast forward 500 years. You're not navigating rival city-states, but the principle hasn't changed. You're covering shifts for colleagues who never return the favor. You're doing emotional labor for family members who treat your time like a public utility. You're saying yes in meetings while someone else takes credit. Your intentions are good. You genuinely want to help. But here's the contrast that matters. Intentions don't determine outcomes. You want to be seen as generous, but you're seen as convenient. You want to build goodwill, but you build dependency and resentment. People who respect boundaries get leadership roles. You get more requests. Machiavelli wasn't telling you to abandon virtue. He was telling you to stop practicing it like a suicide pact. Now, let's break down exactly why. You've been chasing the wrong identity. You think you're being good. You're not. You're being nice. And the difference between the two will determine whether you burn out or break through. Niceness is performance. It's approval-seeking dressed up as virtue. It's the reflexive yes when someone asks for a favor you don't have time for. It's laughing at jokes that aren't funny, nodding when you disagree, and swallowing your needs so nobody feels uncomfortable. Niceness optimizes for being liked in the moment. It's shallow rapport with no foundation. And here's the kicker. People can smell it. They know you're not choosing to help. You're just too scared to say no. Goodness is different. Goodness is principled and selective. It's helping because you've decided this person, this moment, this cause is worth your finite energy. It's bounded generosity. It's high impact because you're not scattering your effort across every outstretched hand. You're investing it where it matters. The strategically kind person doesn't say yes to everyone. They say yes to the right people at the right time for the right reasons. And because of that, their help actually means something. Let me give you a parable. Two managers work at the same company. Manager A covers every shift when someone calls in sick. She says yes to every last-minute request, stays late, comes in on weekends. Everyone knows they can count on her. Manager B says no. She doesn't cover shifts. She builds a rotation system, so the team handles absences without her. She doesn't stay late. She delegates and trains people to solve problems independently. Guess which one gets promoted? Manager B. Every time. Because Manager A is indispensable at the bottom. Manager B builds systems and capacity. One is nice. One is good. One gets taken for granted. One gets recognized as a leader. You're not chasing niceness. You're chasing durable goodness. And that requires you to stop performing virtue and start protecting it. So you've decided to practice real goodness instead of reflexive niceness. But here's the question nobody asks. Why does being unconditionally helpful actively sabotage you? It's not just about boundaries. There are actual psychological and economic mechanisms working against you. First, hedonic adaptation. Humans stop valuing what's always available. When you're always there, always saying yes, always covering, always available, you become background noise. Your generosity doesn't get appreciated. It gets expected. Think about the colleague who brings donuts every Friday. Week 1, everyone thanks them. Week 12, people complain if the donuts are late. That's hedonic adaptation. Your kindness doesn't compound goodwill. It resets the baseline, and then you're punished when you can't deliver. Second, adverse selection. When you give unconditionally, you don't attract grateful people. You attract takers. The people who respect boundaries don't abuse your openness. The people who don't respect boundaries see you as an all-you-can-eat buffet. Over time, your social circle skews toward the users. Because reciprocal people don't need to extract, they move on to mutual relationships. You've essentially built a filter that selects for exploitation. Organizational psychologist Adam Grant documented this in his research on givers. He found that givers, people who help without expecting anything back, occupy both the top and the bottom of success ladders. The difference? Top givers are strategic. They give selectively and protect their time. Bottom givers suffer from giver burnout because they can't say no. They experience reciprocity asymmetry. They give far more than they receive, and it crushes them. Now here's the contrast everyone misses. You've been taught the abundance mentality. Give freely. Trust it comes back. Operate from overflow. Beautiful in theory. But your time isn't abundant. It's the scarcest resource you have. Giving without criteria doesn't make you generous. It trains people to devalue you. It signals low status. And it guarantees you'll run dry while the people you help move on without a second thought. Unconditional niceness isn't just ineffective. It's a mechanism that ensures you lose. But the damage doesn't stop at burnout. It extends to how people see you. Let's go there next. Here's the truth that will sting. Being too available doesn't make you valuable. It makes you look incompetent. You think constant availability signals dedication, reliability, team spirit. It doesn't. It signals that you have nothing more important to do, that your time is cheap, that you lack the judgment to prioritize. And in the eyes of the people who make decisions about your career, your influence, your authority, that's damaging. This is the reputation paradox. The more accessible you are, the less people respect your competence. Scarcity signals value. Abundance signals desperation. Let me show you the contrast. Popularity means everyone likes you, but no one respects you. You're friendly, helpful, always around. People enjoy your presence, but they don't think of you when it's time to promote someone, to trust someone with a high-stakes decision, to defer to someone's authority. Respect, on the other hand, comes from selective presence and clear boundaries. You're not always available, so when you show up, it matters. You don't say yes to everything, So when you say yes, people know you mean it. Here's the example you've seen play out 100 times. There's a colleague who never says no, covers every meeting, answers every Slack message within minutes, volunteers for every initiative. Then there's a colleague who guards her calendar, who says, I can't commit to that right now, who's selective about where they spend energy. The first one is overlooked for leadership. The second one is seen as high value, someone whose time is worth competing for. Robert Greene put it plainly, if you make yourself too accessible, you seem common and lose the aura of power. Your reputation isn't built on how often you show up. It's built on how strategically you show up. Now let's talk about the economics behind that strategy. You've learned that availability damages your authority. Now let's talk about why kindness without economics destroys your capacity. Your energy, your time, your willingness to help. These aren't infinite. They're finite resources with real opportunity costs. Every yes to one person is a no to someone else, including yourself. And if you're not tracking return on investment, you're not being generous. You're being financially illiterate with the most valuable currency you have. Here's the contrast that changes everything. Emotional accounting asks, do people reciprocate, or do they ghost after you help? Most people pleasers never run this audit. They help, they give, they cover, and they never check whether the effort comes back. They operate on hope, not data. And hope is not a strategy. Strategic investment, on the other hand, asks, where does my generosity compound? It's mentorship that's mutual, where both people grow. It's favors that create alliances, where today's help becomes next year's open door. It's given to people who remember, who return, who build with you. That's not transactional in the cynical sense. It's sustainable. It's design generosity. Think of your energy as venture capital, not a charity fund. Venture capital goes to high-potential opportunities that can scale and return value. Charity is fine if you've got surplus, but you don't. You're running on fumes, resentful, wondering why nobody appreciates you. That's because you've been donating to every cause without asking whether it's worthy of investment. Every time you say yes to someone who won't reciprocate, you're saying no to someone who would. That's opportunity cost. And it's bankrupting you. So let's fix it. Let's build a system that lets you be generous without being exploited. You understand the theory. Now, let's make it operational. This is a framework that lets you practice strategic goodness without guilt, without burnout, and without becoming the person everyone uses and no one respects. 4 steps. Start this week. Step 1. Audit your yes. For the next 7 days, track every request someone makes of you. Write it down. Know who asked, what they wanted, whether you said yes. And here's the critical part, how you felt afterward. Energized or drained. Appreciated or taken for granted. Did they thank you, or did they immediately ask for more? Most people never run this audit. They operate on autopilot, saying yes out of reflex, never realizing that 70% of their effort goes to people who don't reciprocate. You can't fix what you don't measure. Track it. Step 2. Install the generous no. This is the single most important script you'll ever learn. When someone asks for something you don't have bandwidth for, you say, I can't take that on right now, but here's what I can do. Then you offer something smaller, something that doesn't cost you your evening or your sanity. Maybe it's a 10-minute conversation instead of a full mentoring relationship. Maybe it's a resource or a referral instead of doing the work yourself. The generous no lets you help without overcommitting. It signals boundaries while preserving goodwill. And critically, it separates people who actually need help from people who just want convenience. The ones who appreciate the smaller offer, those are your people. The ones who get upset because you didn't say yes to everything, they were never going to reciprocate anyway. Step 3. Practice selective visibility. Be generous in high-leverage moments. Public wins, reciprocal relationships, moments where your help gets seen and remembered. Be strategically unavailable otherwise. That doesn't mean hiding. It means you don't answer non-urgent messages at midnight. You don't volunteer for every committee. You show up when it compounds. You're present where it builds alliances, credibility, and mutual investment. Everywhere else, you're politely absent. Step 4. Reward reciprocity. This is where you design loyalty instead of hoping for it. Pay attention to who returns value. It doesn't have to be transactional or immediate, but over time, you'll notice some people remember, some people give back, some people build with you. Double down on those people. Give them more time, more access, more generosity. And the people who take without giving, fade them. Not with drama, just with distance. Stop being available. Stop saying yes. Let the relationship recalibrate to what they're actually willing to invest. Here's the contrast that defines everything. Reactive helping is exhausting and invisible. Design generosity is sustainable and respected. One scatters your energy. One compounds it. You're not being selfish. You're being smart. But let's address the guilt head on, because I know you're feeling it. You got the framework, but I know what you're thinking. Isn't this manipulative? Doesn't this make me calculating and cold? Let's clear it up. Exploitation is fake kindness for personal gain. Smiling at someone while you scheme to use them. That's not what this is. Sustainability is kindness you can maintain without resentment. It's helping in a way that doesn't destroy you. And there's nothing manipulative about refusing to light yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Here's the contrast. Indiscriminate mercy. Saying yes to everyone, giving without boundaries, treating every request as equally valid, is exhausting. And worse, it breeds contempt. The people you help most start to see you as weak, as someone without priorities, as a resource to exploit. That's not virtue. That's self-destruction. Designed reciprocity, on the other hand, builds loyalty and respect. You're generous with people who've proven they value it, who give back, who treat your time as the gift it is. That's not transactional. It's relational. It's how every healthy relationship actually works. So here's the rule. Be lavish with those who've earned trust. Go above and beyond for people who've shown up for you, who reciprocate, who treat generosity as mutual. Be ruthlessly polite with everyone else. Civil, professional, kind, but bounded. And that brings us back to Machiavelli. He wasn't anti-virtue. He was anti-stupid virtue. He wasn't telling you to stop being good. He was telling you to stop practicing goodness in ways that guarantee your destruction. The people who respect you aren't the ones you said yes to every time. They're the ones you said yes to strategically, intentionally, and with purpose. Now, let's lock this in. Here's the identity choice in front of you. You're not mean for having boundaries. You're not selfish for protecting your energy. You're not cold for saying no. You're strategically good, and that's the only goodness that survives, that scales, that actually changes anything. Look at the two paths. The exhausted helper says yes to everyone, works twice as hard, and ends up resentful and invisible. Nobody remembers what they did. Nobody fights for their promotion. Nobody checks in to see if they're okay. They give everything and receive nothing, and eventually they break. That's not noble. That's just sad. The respected force is selective, high impact, and energized. They help fewer people, but they help them better. They say no without guilt, yes with intention. They invest their energy where it compounds. And because of that, people respect them. They get leadership opportunities. They build real alliances. They're not burned out. They're clear-headed and powerful. Which one do you want to be? Here's your first move. Comment below with one relationship, work, family, friends, where you're going to install a generous no this week. One place where you've been overgiving. Name it. Commit to it. Let's build some accountability. And if you want the next layer, how to handle the guilt when you actually say no, and what to do when people push back, I'll link the follow-up in the description and pin it in the comments. But before you go, lock this in. Machiavelli didn't tell you to stop being good. He told you to stop being stupid about it. Now, go be strategically good. It's the only kind that lasts.